Hey guys, it's Adriel from StyleAssisted, and I've had so many of you request a self-tanner video. I figured that I would go ahead and film one really quick as I'm doing it because I have a photo shoot on Thursday and then I'm going on vacation next week, so I thought that I would just show you how I would go ahead and get tanned. So if you want to see that, stick around. Alright guys, so my first tip for doing any sort of self-tanning is to do it immediately following a shower. A lot of times there's a recommendation to not do that because if you shave, sometimes the self-tanner will actually settle into the follicle holes that you had just shaved. However, I get a much more even, well-distributed tan if I do it immediately after showering, exfoliating, and moisturizing. If I wait until later that day or the next morning, I get patchy dry spots. And that is not attractive, especially on fair skin because it shows up so easily. So the first thing I do is shower and exfoliate, and I actually like to do an exfoliating mix of just a bowl of sugar. Yes, sugar that you have at home. It doesn't need to be brown sugar, just regular old sugar will do, and a little bit of your own body wash. It's a really easy DIY that you can do in like 2 seconds, and you already have the things around your house. I usually just put maybe a half of a cup, fourth of a cup, depending on how much you need if you're going to do your whole body, in a bowl, and then just add a pretty good squirt of my body wash and then sort of swirl it around and mix it up until you get a consistency that you want. You don't want it too runny, but you also don't want it to be so thick that it falls off. I'll show you what mine ends up looking like, but I've found that it's just the easiest way to get my skin super baby soft. And do not skip this step. It is really important for a well-distributed even tan. Okay, my crazy hair aside, I have a half of a cup of sugar right here, and I use sugar over salt because salt works great as an exfoliant unless you have a cut or something like that on your skin, and then it will burn like nobody's business. So I prefer sugar. The only thing with sugar is that it is not meant to be placed in any parts of your body that go internal. So avoid all holes because that's not where sugar's supposed to go. And that includes, obviously, eyes. I don't know if sugar burns, but I assume it doesn't feel good, so just be careful with that. Now, I'm using some of my son's baby shampoo. Yes, because you can use basically anything. So I just layered the top, and I'm using a knife because I find it easier to stir than a spoon. And you can always obviously add more sugar if you need to, or you can add more baby wash or any sort of cleanser if you want to. It's super easy. I use the baby lavender because it's very gentle on the skin and it smells fantastic. So this is end up what it looks like. It's runny, sort of like a frosting, but not super runny. So I will shower really quick, scrub myself down, and see you guys in a second. Okay guys, I am done showering and I have applied a thick moisturizer to my hands, my elbows, my knees, on the tops of my ankles, on the sides of my ankles, and along the sides and bottom of my feet, because those are places that tend to collect a little bit more product, and you don't want that. And then I used a regular face moisturizer. Now if you guys notice, I took a shower, my hair is not wet, because I don't like the chance of some droplet from my hair dropping on my shoulder, on my leg or something, and then ruining the color. So I avoid that, but we have to shower it off in 8 hours anyway using the stuff that I use, so I'll just wash my hair when I shower it. This is the Saint-Tropez Classic Self-Tan Bronzing Mousse, and I don't think these actually come in different colors, but they do have a gradual tan lotion, sort of like a Jergens Daily that you can use, and they also have a speed tan version of this that I've not tried yet, but I've heard good things. So basically, if you want it to be a light tan, you leave it on an hour. If you want a medium depth tan, you do 2 hours, and then if you want a full super dark tan, you do 3, and then rinse it off immediately. Pros and cons: if you don't have a lot of time or you don't want to sleep in your self tanner, that is a great option. However, if you don't want to be super dark and you accidentally miss the time, you could end up looking Latina when you are Irish. So there is that. Now, I get this on Amazon because if you buy this at Sephora or Ulta, you will pay twice the price for the exact same amount. They started doing smaller bottles and they charge you the exact same price that I got this big one for a smaller bottle, which is total crap. So I buy this on Amazon. I will link it below for you guys. Now I do my face first, and I use this mitt. This is a Saint-Tropez mitt, and basically it has foam on one side. The back side of it is waterproof so it doesn't get on your hands, and I use this to apply all over my body, and I use my husband to apply it on my back. If you don't have a husband, like I do, you can use one of those normal back scrubbers that you get and just attach this onto the top of it and then put hair tie at the bottom of it, so you have basically a wand, and you can use this to apply your back. So I use one pump first, and I start at my shin, and I rub it all the way around my shin below my knee and then work my way down. You never want a fresh pump or a lot of product to go on your feet because it absorbs a lot, and that's not ever a good thing. Some people say start at your ankles and work your way up. I start right below my knee and work down, and then do another 2 pumps for the second half of my leg. So from the knee up, and I do the same on the other leg. And then I do 1 pump per shoulder and then sort of work it down. Sometimes I need about a half pump from here down. But the trick to getting a seamless looking tan is not applying too much. You can always apply a little bit extra if you want it, but you don't want to apply too much. So what I do is I make sure that it's basically all used up, and then once I finally take off the mitt, I will use the mitt and dab it on my hand, and then switch it and dab it on the other hand. So that way my hands have some color, but that way you don't get the weird streaky. And make sure, like I said, apply lotion to your hands and right here as well, because that will save you a lot of issues of having the weird creepy hands. So I will do that all over my body, and I will be back to show you guys sort of what the end product looks like. Okay, I'm done. You're supposed to wait 5 to 10 minutes before you put on clothes, and I actually put on a white tank top so you can sort of see the difference. Obviously you can tell when I smile because your teeth don't change colors, but this will continue to develop over the next 8 hours. So I usually do it before bed, and then I sleep in it. If you don't want to do that, I would advise doing the, whatever it was, the 1, 2, or 3 hour option that you can get from Saint-Tropez. But this is my absolute favorite. I've been using it for years. It does not turn me orange. It doesn't turn me weird red looking. I adore it. The only thing with all self-tanners, they get on your sheets. So we have white sheets so I can bleach them. You can also buy a really crappy like $5 sheet from Walmart or something that's a darker color, and then sort of sandwich yourself in between those two while you sleep if you don't want to get your nice sheets kind of dirty. I know a lot of people that also do this on vacation because hotel sheets, they bleach them at such high temperatures that it won't obviously do any damage to them. But you can usually do it the day before. I wouldn't do it the day of, just in case you need to reapply if there's some splotchy patches or you missed an area. I would always under apply and do it a day or two before you actually need to look tan, and then check to see if there's any areas that you missed or might need to scrub down. Now, if you have to go somewhere and you feel sort of sticky, you can actually, like for example, my inner elbows always seem a little sticky. Back of my knees do too. You can put baby powder on there after 5 to 10 minutes of letting it dry, and that will actually create a barrier. I wouldn't do too much, I would do a thin layer. But any sort of talcum type powder will work really good on keeping those areas from sticking together, because if they stick together, they will end up pulling the color off of one side, so you have one side that's a little darker on the other side that looks like the color didn't stick at all, because it didn't. So anyway, I will let you guys know how this turns out, but as you can tell, the light is fading outside and I'm going to go hang out with my husband. So I'm going to sleep in this tonight, and I'm going to wear really loose baggy clothing, obviously, to sleep in, and then shower this off in the next day in the morning, and I will be good to go. Hey guys, this is what I look like first in the morning. I'm still really dark, as you can tell. This will wash off. I'm going to go take a shower and come back and show you guys what it looks like when I've rinsed it all off. Also, take note of when you're rinsing off if there's some dry patches that might have clung to a little bit more product than you want, like for example like on your knees. Try to really scrub those while you're in the shower, and that's going to be your focus for the next couple of days, to scrub all of that off. But basically I'm just going to get in the shower and rinse it all off. I try not to scrub because scrubbing removes product. So I will do that, and I will also use a moisturizing lotion afterwards. Anything that doesn't have alcohol in it will work great, just to maintain my color. Alright, I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, this is the finished look. As you can tell, I'm not super tan, but I'm tan enough that I need to go up a shade of makeup, which means I basically can use all makeup now, because usually everything is too dark. And it's just, I mean, You don't see any weird coloration on my hands or on my fingers because I just used that brush with what was left over for the rest of my body to just gently do basically from the forearm, mid-forearm down, and I do a little bit of my inner wrist, but I don't do my palms, obviously. And I was wrong about how much I used on my legs. I use 2 to 3 pumps, and I basically go straight down my shin and then do all the way around my lower half of my leg, and then use what's left over to do my feet, and then do another 3 to 4 pumps and go straight up the front of my thigh, and then rub it down and around my knee and behind and work my way up through that. So I had said I think like 1 or 2 pumps or something, and that is not enough. So that's it. As always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them below. If you have any comments about what you want me to do my next video on, let me know. And as always, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe. The button is down there. I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and thanks for stopping by. Bye guys. Now on to my absolute favorites. So I already talked about the Becca Jaclyn Hill collection, which sadly I believe this is completely sold out. I'm really sorry guys. But anytime you get anything that is Becca related, any of the Becca highlighters, any of them are going to be a best bet. They're incredibly creamy, they're incredibly pigmented, they go on like butter.